There is advice that never tires of repeating, especially for younger ones. It is something I learned not in books, but in practice, through experiences that have been repeated throughout their lives. It is a simple but deep warning: avoid saying it's okay. At first glance, it may seem strange. After all, who wouldn't want to have everything in order? But here is the point. The seemingly harmless phrase carries a weight that few perceive. I will explain why this idea was so engraved on me. It all started in my childhood, in a family where words were not just sounds, but seeds. Each expression planted in everyday life could flourish into something good or become a problem. The elders always reminded us, think before they speak, because words have their own life. They leave our mouth and come back transformed, like an echo that returns with consequences. I once heard my grandfather, a man who had faced wars and deprivation, to answer a neighbor who asked how he was. Instead of saying everything is fine, he replied, "Thank God, we move on, working as it should be." At the time, I was a child and curious. I asked, "Why didn't you say it's okay?" After all, we were at a good time. The harvest had been plentiful. My parents were happy. There was no reason for complaints. My grandfather looked at me and said something I never forgot: "Never say everything is fine. Life doesn't like it when they praise her before the time. If you claim everything is perfect, she will test you, as if to say, 'Let's see if it's really.'" Over time, I proved this lesson countless times. Whenever someone declares with absolute conviction that everything is great, something unexpected happens to shake the certainty. It is not superstition, but a matter of posture. When a person claims that everything is resolved, they, without realizing it, closes the doors for growth. It's like saying, "I arrived where I wanted to. I don't need to evolve anymore." And life, like a river, does not stop flowing if you block your course. The stagnant water and what was clear turns into mud. The wisest have always taught, leave room for the best. Do not close the doors of the future with their own words. I remember an acquaintance who lived repeating, "I am the happiest man in the world. Everything is perfect." He radiated that confidence, but in a matter of weeks, your business has collapsed. Why? Because he settled. Believing that it has already achieved full happiness makes the person lose attention, gratitude, and prudence. In life, relentless recalls that there is no room for carelessness while we are here. This is no coincidence. It is a law. Words have power, and the way we express ourselves shape our way. So when someone asks how you are, don't answer automatically, "It's okay." Reflect. Are you just ending the conversation or unintentionally limiting your own possibilities? Tradition teaches that it is better to say, "With God's help, we go on, all in place." This answer carries humility, gratitude, and, above all, the understanding that there is always room to improve. And here is the key. If you want movement, progress, and success, don't attach definitive statements. It may seem like a detail, but it's the small habits, the word said without thinking, the automatic gestures that build or destroy our destiny. Each "it's okay" is like a brick that lifts a wall between you and new opportunities. Life is not a static photo, but a movie in constant motion. When someone declares that everything is fine, it is as if the break button and say, "I already have everything I need." But the reality is that there is always something to improve, something to thank, something to learn. My father, for example, worked hard on a factory, but never said that everything was fine. He answered, "Thank God, we have the necessary, the children are healthy, the work follows." This attitude kept its doors open, and even in times of layoffs, he was never dismissed. Why? Because it didn't close the way to luck. Already my neighbor, a kind but proud man, lived proclaiming, "I am the happiest in the world," until the same day she repeated the sentence, a pipe broke out at her house, flooding everything. Then his car broke, and he fell ill. "It would be better to shut up," he admitted. Not that your words have it as attracted to bad luck, but his excessive self-confidence made him lose his caution. Life does not tolerate who treats it as guaranteed. The words are seeds. If you say it's okay, it's like planting a tree that has already stopped growing, but it is said to move on, with faith, is planting something that can still develop. The sages have always warned, never speak as if everything is over, because while there is life, there is no end. There is always more to come. I saw this in business too. An entrepreneur opens an establishment, begins to profit, and then states, "Now everything is resolved." But history shows that this is precisely the moment when problems often appear. Blind trust leads to neglect, and life, as always, charges its price. True wisdom is to recognize that no matter how good the situation is, there is always room to grow. Think and prepare for what will come. So the next time someone asks how you are, think before you answer. Your words are not just sounds, These are choices that can open or close paths. Happiness is not saying that everything is perfect, but in keeping an open mind to what can still be built. Imagine the following scene. A businessman is addressed with the question, "How do businesses?" and answers, without hesitation, "All great. I'm a success." What happens next? He stops learning, neglects the details, while competitors advance. He keeps repeating okay until one day his business collapses. Another one responds with humility, "With God's help, we are working, striving." This one doesn't stop. He sees what he needs to improve, what he must learn, where to grow. And your business thrives. It is not theory, it is its own experience. In youth, I also love to tell friends, everything perfect, all amazing. And do you know what happened? Life, like a severe teacher, soon put me to the test. I lost my job, health failed, friends walked away. It was then that I understood. One should not close my mouth to the destination. It is necessary to speak in moderation. Leave room for the movement. Here is what I want to share with you. My dear ones, if you want life to advance, never say that's fine. Learn to say, "Thank God, we are striving." Remember, even in difficult days, this is also movement forward. And always leave in your words a place for hope. This does not mean complaining or being dissatisfied. On the contrary, Jewish wisdom teaches gratitude, rejoice in what it has, but know that there can always be something better. Take health as an example. When someone says, "I'm great," stops taking care of each other, leaves healthy eating, stops exercising, and then is surprised, "Why do I have problems?" Already who says, with the help of God, "I'm fine, but I take care of myself," lives more and preserves my health, because it understands that life is a process that requires constant attention. In our culture, even a simple phrase carries a whole meaning. When a Jew says Baruch Hashem, thank God, he is thanking for the present and, at the same time, making room for the future to be even better. These words are not just sounds, they are energy. They express gratitude and keep the door of tomorrow ajar. So never say okay. It's like putting an end point, and period only exists at the end of the book. While we are alive, the story is still being written. Now, my dear ones, we have reached the most important part. It is not enough to know what not to say. You have to learn what to say instead. And that's what we will talk about now. When closing this thought with advice that can transform your days and times of joy and proof. What do we find out so far? When you say okay, you are putting an end point, closing a book that still has many pages for writing. Stop growing, to strive, to be cautious. But life does not like final points. She prefers commas, ellipses, new chapters. It is not philosophy, it is practical. I saw dozens, hundreds of people who, in words, were happy, but in reality they fell into traps because they believed it was too early, that everything was solved. Jewish wisdom teaches us something else. Always leave room for the future. Do not brag. Do not close doors with words. Think so that your phrases carry gratitude for the present and hope for what will come. Words to replace all good. Keep these simple expressions, which have been protecting people from misfortunes for centuries. Thank God. Let's go ahead. With God's help, we follow. Thank you. We are striving, as it should be. So walk. They are short but deep sentences. In them fit humility, gratitude, and the faith that life has not stopped. When you respond like this, don't lie. It doesn't say it's bad, but it doesn't close the doors for what can still come. Leaves room for happiness on the horizon. A story about gratitude. My grandmother lived very difficult times, wars, hunger, losses. But every time they asked, "How are you?" she said, "Thank God, we're alive." And that means everything can get better. Even in the darkest days, he found the strength to smile, because his words kept his soul open. It didn't say that's fine, because I knew it wasn't true, but it didn't complain either. I was grateful for what he had and left room for hope. I think that's why you live so much, because who knows how to thank and doesn't close the future always finds strengths to follow. The lesson that remains. My dear ones, I want you to absorb this wisdom. Next time you ask, "How are you?" pause before answering automatically. Don't say okay. Say, "Thank God, we move on," or "With God's help, let's go well." You will feel the difference. These words are like a key. They open ways, and you will see that life will begin to bring new opportunities, because they have not closed the doors with words, they have left them ajar. Life is always moving. Today is difficult. Tomorrow will be lighter. Today there are tears. Tomorrow there will be laughter. Today a fall. Tomorrow a fresh start. This is the world. And if you want to go through this path with dignity, smiling and wisely, learn to speak correctly. I do not say that the words solve everything, but they are the foundation. From them the thought is born. Thought generates actions, and actions shape fate. Start with the little one. Stop saying okay. They talk to how our ancestors taught. and see how even the simplest habits can change your life for the better. As I used to play my friend Itzik, when my wife asks how are things going, I never answer okay. Because if you say that, she soon gets 3 more tasks to do. Better say, with God's help, everything goes. So the wife is satisfied and life doesn't get angry. Asterisk we love humor because the joke also opens doors. It relieves weight and gives the soul clearance. But behind each joke there is wisdom. Therefore, my dear, here is my advice, my gift to you. Never close your life with words. Never put an end while the story is still being written. Thank you for what you have. Wait for what will come. And always leave in your speech space to move on. If you remember this, if you live by this rule, even the arrested times will be just stages, never the end. Okay is a trap. True wisdom sounds like this. Thank God, we move on. And now, my good, I ask you a favor. If this message resonated on you, they felt the warmth, experience, and care in these words, consider subscribing to this channel, not for numbers, but because I want to keep sharing with you stories that, lesson after lesson, can illuminate their ways. It is not just words that I bring, they are scars that became wisdom, laughs that were born with tears, and a faith that, even when the earth shivered under my feet, never dropped me. I lived enough decades to see life in its most vibrant colors and in its darkest tones. I learned that the strength is never in stumbling, but to get up even when the legs hurt. That gratitude is not a privilege of easy times, but a courageous choice when everything seems to fall apart. And this is what I want to divide with you, not distant theories, but lively truths tested on the fire of trials. Subscribe to this channel not as spectators, but as companions of journey, because in the coming weeks and months, I will bring stories that may be exactly what you will need to hear that day when weight seems unbearable, when hope hesitates. These are reports that keep keys to doors that you don't even know will need to open. But for now, this is enough. Today, thank God, we are here together, and that their lives are not just tolerable, but they flourish, day after day, lighter, lighter, lighter with purpose. With God's hand guiding, what should come will come, and what should be will be. Trust it.